Hello and welcome to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. Thank you for joining me from all around the globe, strategy lovers from everywhere. And we are going to be looking at War in the Pacific today, as we always do on Mondays at 10 a.m. Pacific Coast time. And what is going on? Well, yesterday we resolved turn 6, and turn 6 went pretty well for us. We did some good work, we did some submarine work. We also, things progressed. We think we had a sighting on the main Japanese task force. And so we're going to go look at that today. We're going to figure out if that is the task force, as some of the viewers said yesterday, hey, we had a sub that just saw the task force. And I believe that that indeed happened. We will also be looking at Java today. So we're going to go down to the very important island of Java, the real machine that makes the Dutch click down here. We're going to take a look at that, look at Batavia, Surabaya. We'll look at all the smaller little bases in Java too. We'll just go right down the spreadsheet in Java. If we have time, and we should during the week here on Wednesday and Friday also, we'll take a look up here at Palembang. So we'll move up into Sumatra if we get through Java, look at Oosthaven, Palembang, and probably take a look at Singapore as well. So that should be a pretty full week. Educational. There's a lot going on in those places. I see that David is in the house. Hey, David, how's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. All right, well, let's look at the spreadsheet. First of all, you know what? Let's just take a quick trip around the map. Now, I have been saying I want to wait until Sundays to look at the stats, but I don't really think that makes sense. We just ran the turn yesterday. Most people have now watched that video, or as they progress through the videos, we're now on number 35 of this Let's Play. As they progress, they'll probably want to say, hey, you resolved the turn yesterday, what the heck happened? And so let's go up here to our intelligence report and see what happened in turn 6, how we progressed, what we did, what we blew out of the air or at sea. You'll see here we had a massive advantage in sorties flown, so that's always a good thing, and we'll, hopefully that continues. Early in the game, generally, you're going to run about even. The Japanese main task force, the big carriers, right now are not really running missions because we couldn't find it, for one thing, so they're probably not too close to land. Now that I see where I think they're going, this sortie number will be going up very quickly. We took no air-to-air losses yesterday. The Japanese took just one, but for the campaign, we are ahead of them, which is very good early in the game. Destroyed on the field. We had one destroyed on the field. I looked around. I do believe that that was at Singapore. It happens. Destroyed by flak. We got one Japanese plane. I would like to see that go up quite a bit, especially as the Japanese start flying missions over Rangoon. We would like to see that AA kick in, and Singapore. So hopefully, our anti-aircraft units start to, get some things with their flak. Operational losses, very manageable. 3 for us, 3 for the Japanese as well, as far as we know, under the fog of war. But we'll take 3. Again, a few turns ago, we had like 13. It seems that that is not an ongoing problem. That was a kind of a one-turn deal for whatever reason. We have a lot of green pilots, which can cause some operational losses. Hopefully, they're building up that experience now to hold those down. We have 169 political points. Now, I did spend some yesterday, or quite a few yesterday actually. I bought a couple of more things out for the first Australian, which is heading up to Port Moresby. Since I'm going to strand those Australians at Singapore, I thought, gosh, I've got to make it up to our Aussie friends and get up there and defend Port Moresby. And so we've sent an extra couple of units up that way. Now that I think we know where the Japanese task force is, that may have been a very wise decision. And that's all we make here, right? Of course. Japanese score, like I say, tell the judges to call it. Throw in the towel. We've won this one. Not quite. That will continue to close. Hopefully not too much. You don't want them really getting within about 2,000 points of you, and they really shouldn't if things are going well. But right now we've got 10,800. They've got 2,500 approximately. Looking pretty good there. A lot of bases controlled, of course, by us, 582 to 254, which is where we're getting the majority of our points. But we're also gaining points in aircraft lost. That's very nice. Army points lost. Now, we took a beating in a few places in China during that turn. We were talking about different things. We were kind of talking about the war out in the ocean a little bit more than we talked about the ground, but we did take a couple of losses on the ground last time that were fairly substantial, 4-1. Also, the Japanese took Singapore, or not Singapore, excuse me, Hong Kong. And when they took Hong Kong, we had several units that surrendered. They're counted as losses. Now, we can go buy some of those units back, and we will do that with the Canadian units, which are actually quite strong. And so that will be something that we'll be looking at in a future episode. But right now, you know, we've fell quite a bit behind there when it came to ground unit losses because of that Hong Kong surrender. Allied ships sunk 23, Japanese 9. Now this 414 comes mainly from the 2 battleships that we lost at Pearl Harbor. Nothing we could do about that. They were fully on fire. By the time the game started, they were going down one way or another. I think that was a total of well over 300 points. We've lost 414 points for ships sunk. The Japanese 78. We've been doing some good sub work here. We got a couple of cargo ships last time. I think we did catch something that maybe had some troops on it as well. But, you know, we had a few things that were blown out of the water over here by Rangoon that it's like the devil's highway out in the ocean running from Calcutta to Rangoon. The guys are not getting enough combat pay for that little run, believe me. And we had a cargo task force, we'll go look at it here in a minute, that had 4 ships. It's now got 2 ships that are still afloat, and one of those just barely. It's on fire and in trouble. We do have units on the scene. They are trying to escort it. We need to make sure that we give it the order to escort back to Calcutta and not try to go further into Rangoon, which is the closest base to it, because that is no place you want to go. It is hellfire in Rangoon. Crab Rangoon, Hellfire. So anyway, we did get some Japanese ships. Those Dutch subs were operating nicely. They got a couple. And we actually, David says, did we lose the KV? No, I don't believe that sub went down. It did take some damage, David, but we have not lost a sub. Well, we're going to go look. Let's go over here to ship sunk, and we'll go to last turn and just see what happened here. Now we got this these 2 Maru, Yamiuri and Azuchusan. I have no idea if I said that. I tried to say it really fast, so it made it sound like I knew what I was saying, but I doubt I got it right. 10 and 6, we got those with a couple of torpedoes out here. Actually, a Mark 14 that exploded right here. That's always encouraging. This was the one the Dutch got. Okay. We lost the Tanager and the Whippoorwill. Now these were out. These are out near Manila, out near Bataan, you know, in the Philippines. We lost those. Nothing major here. 3, 3, 2. Now these are the 2 ships I was talking about that we lost near Rangoon. We'll go look at that. Yeah, Bayard, I'll bring that up in a minute. I'll go look at the active ships here in a minute. We'll look at the damage and what we have damage. And so we lost these 2 cargo ships here trying to go into Rangoon. We also have a couple of MLs that we lost at Hong Kong. What can you do? We couldn't get them out of there. They didn't even have enough range to get out of there. They would have, you know, just been sitting there in the middle of the ocean. So that was not going to happen. 1 point apiece, no big deal. And so, as Bayard suggested, let's go up to our active ships, and we'll sort by damage here. This is the Taiping and the Busegi, and the Taiping and the Busegi are both in that task force that was hit off of, that was about 4 hexes out of Rangoon. Yeah, well, you know, They didn't make it. They are going to hightail it back to Calcutta if they can get there. They've got quite a bit of float damage. Now we've got a 23 fire on the Taiping. You know, I think they can both make it back to Calcutta if they don't get hit again. Now, this is the sub, that S-38 and the Pickerel, that were both hit last time. Neither one of them is catastrophic damage by any stretch of the imagination. I do think that we'll be able to, I think I've got them right now. I was looking at the turn before I started up here. I think I'm sending them back to Swerbaya, but actually we'll just go look at them really quickly. Let's look at the Pickerel. It is here. Oh, it's trying to make its way back down to Darwin. Swerbaya is closer. I think I'll take it to Swerbaya. I think that's maybe the better move. Let's go down this way. And we'll just make that its home port for now. We'll send it there for repair. Swerbaya, always a nice little port to pull into. Got a lot going on at Swerbaya. Okay, so we have moved that down there. Great. Actually, let's go look at Swerbaya. Let's see how much repair they have there. I'm just curious. Ooh, that's only an 8? I swear to goodness, I thought it was more than that. What does Batavia have? Well, they don't have anything. What is Darwin then? Maybe I should have sent it to Darwin. No, well, it doesn't have any repair at all. I mean, you know, so shipyard-wise, the only thing we've really got is Swerbaya. I don't think Townsville has any. Yeah, I mean, we would have to bring it all the way down the Australian coast. So Swerbaya it is. We're going to head there with the Pickerel. And let's go back up here with our sort. And let's look at this S-38 that also got hit last time. Now, we also had a destroyer, the Thracian. We'll go look at that as well. Okay, okay, this is on the northern end of Luzon out here. The S-38. Okay, now we've got it as a Manila home base, but let's send this to Swerbaya as well. Why is it showing me that? Oh, let's get this patrol zone off. Let's clear the patrol zone. Perfect. Okay, now let's go down to Swerbaya. So we'll send them both there. I also like to turn off the max react of 1 for both of these guys to make it 0. You don't really want them reacting to anything at this point. It's much more important that we get them pulled into a base. Okay, Pickerel, where are you? There you are. Okay, let's turn that. Is that what I just did? Oh, the Pickerel was actually a mine layer that got hit. Interesting. Okay. Back up here, the S-38. Let's make sure that we have that react set correctly. And we do. Okay, 0 and 0, great. The game had kind of turned off the Pickerel. It had enough damage, it was automatically sending it back to base. That's actually a good question. I guess maybe the game set the max. Oh, no, but because it was mine laying, we had the max react at 0 anyway, right? Because it's not patrolling. We didn't care if it reacted to anything. We didn't want it to. It was carrying mines to be laid. Okay, so that's good. We've got those 2 done. Now let's go look at, we're going to go to this task force in a minute. Let's look at the, I'm not worried about the PT boat. Let's go look at the Thracian, the 510. Ah, okay. Well, it made it into Tarakan. That's good. It's already got some orders here to go to Darwin. Oh, this whole task force is going there. Now, as you can see, this will dynamically update the speed. And so if it has enough damage, it will not, it will show you, hey, this can only move at 12, let's say. Now, this, of course, is the max speed. Keep that in mind. But it will tell you if that speed has decreased. And so you would be able to see it here. Now, it's going along or escorting some cargo ships that only have a 10 anyway. So we're going to let that all go on to, so they're loading fuel right now. They put a little on. We've got 100, 171. Okay, so they should leave this time. I just don't want them to get bombed here. Really, the Japanese, I don't think have bombing that can hit Tarakan right now. When I say that, let's uh, let's look at this task force. This task force here, this Japanese task force, is a completely unescorted task force. It's got this had a myriad of ships in it. I mean, transports, cargo, they had all kinds of stuff. Bayard says, okay, good info, Bayard. For subs, the max damage is 25. If they're over 25 on something, they do get sent home. I knew there was a number. I couldn't remember if it was 25 or like 30 or 40. I just couldn't remember what that number is. But that the game will automatically send a sub home to its home base if it's got that kind of damage. Not just subs. I think it does that for all ships. But for sub, I think the max is 25. I'd have to look up what it is for other classes of ships, if it's the same or if that differs a little bit. And so we've got this task force out here. Now I was looking around before the episode, and I thought, what do we have over here? We have a destroyer, and it's this destroyer. Oh, it's returning to port to replenish. Okay, I'll have to look a little closer at that. But I was looking at other capital ships that we have right around here that we can use to go get after this task force, because the best I can tell, unless they're hidden and we just didn't see them, there is no Japanese surface fleet along with this task force that seems to be a cargo. Um, that seems to be a cargo or a transport task force. And so, I mean, I'm going to try to get everything on that thing that I can. Look at its ammo. That's actually a good point. That's a good point. I think the ammo for the Bulmer is why it would be heading home. Um, yeah, so that's why we're going to be heading home. And that's fine. Destroyer's not really what I'm looking for to attack that thing. Now, several destroyers, and we do have things in the area, but just a few. We've got the Houston, a cruiser, the light cruiser Boise here. So we're definitely going to send them over this way with a max reactive 3, and try to get in a scrap with these guys. Now, I don't really know where they're going. They could be coming here to Sendakan. That would seem a little odd. My guess is that they're going to make their way up here, or they're trying to make their way up here to Jesselton. That would be a normal place that the Japanese would hit very early. Jesselton, Brunei, Miri. Yeah, I think, someplace right in that area. I've got a bright light in my face, gentlemen. I've got my lighting coordinator over here on it.
AKA your wonderful wife.
She wanted you to know that's my wonderful wife. I've got all of a sudden that turned up like the light of a million suns. I'm gonna getting a free tan here. Perfect, perfect. Thank you, my dear. Okay, so we've got the Houston, we've got the Boise. Okay, we've got a light cruiser, heavy cruiser. If we can get that Houston over there, that thing can just start spraying ships, hopefully, with gunfire, with the big guns. And so we're going to get those over there. Now, we do have this other destroyer that was with the one that is current. Okay, it's at Tarakan. Where did that go? Hold on. It's in this task force up here. There it is. Okay, so we have the Thanet, which is, I don't want to say it's kind of free because it is escorting these guys, but they're not the greatest cargo ships ever. We do want the Thracian to make it back, but I think I'm going to break out. Yeah, I'm going to break out the Thanet here, and let's see. Let's break that out, and let's have it go merge with the Boise, because I also want a little ASW protection for the heavy cruiser and the light cruiser over there. And so let's have it go meet the task force surface. It's got to be this one. We'll make sure 437. Okay, So we're going to have it meet that. We'll have it merge, get that over there. So we get an ASW protection for our two cruisers, since they, I mean, they just don't have any. Oh, that's Jollo. Shoot. Hold on. So that's 436. Tell me that's 437. It is. Okay. So we're moving over. We'll give that a little ASW protection. Thanet rhymes with planet. Okay. Is there anything at Jollo to resupply? Well, that's a grand question. We do have support ships that have come up here. Now, whether they can resupply, so we have the tanker up here, this TAN 1, to help resupply. We also sent, yes, we do. Well, these are submarine tenders. Pretty sure we have an aircraft tender and another aircraft tender. Okay, so when this destroyer gets here, we don't really have ammunition anyway. Maybe, what am I gonna do? You know, this coming to Jollo is not gonna do us a whole hell of a lot of good. I'm gonna set its home port back here to Sorbaya. I'm gonna send it back down that way as a home port. I don't, you know what? Cole always does this at Jollo. And now that I, you know, do my own kind of derivations, I don't really set all of this up at Jollo, especially the submarine tenders. I just feel like they're too much in the line of fire. And immediately as the Japanese take Davao, you come under pressure here. I mean, they move bombers in here very quickly. So now that we're all talking about it, let's figure out what we're going to do with some of these things. I don't like having a tanker here. The TAN 1, that's 4-point victory value. That's not the end of the world. You hate to lose Oilers, that is for sure, but this is a really crappy one. It's got 1550 in capacity. So, you know, I don't want to ever say, hey, if we lose that ship, no big deal. That's not really how I feel about it. But let's also set this home port. We're going to have to skip this thing, these boats all the way down here. And so let's get them going to Tarakan first, then we'll get them down to Balikpapan. I'm going to get a lot of this stuff out of Jollo. I just, you know, I was going to do it this way because I know it's on the spreadsheet and a lot of people that are playing along are playing by the spreadsheet. I just personally don't like it. I don't think it serves a big purpose. If you really, really need, you know, I get the idea. I think the idea originally is you're helping all of those ships coming down from Hong Kong. But we got all those ships out for the most part. I mean, they came flying by us. They're all heading south and southwest, which was very lucky. I mean, generally you don't have that kind of luck getting things out of Hong Kong, but we did this time. And so really, I think the idea is we were setting up a base for them to, you know, come to Jollo from Hong Kong, you know, get a little fuel if they needed it and start hopping along. Also, the submarine tenders, I think the idea is give them one, you know, chance to come in, rearm, and get back out so they don't have to make that long journey because as you can see, you know, it is absolutely ripe here for submarine work. You don't want them having to go all the way to Sorbaya or Darwin or otherwise to get armed up. But at this point, I just don't like it. And, you know, my spidey sense is tingling. So let's get all of these guys out of here. As a matter of fact, oh, I had already given them the order. I must have done that when I was first looking over the turn before I got the camera on. So, okay, we've already got one out. Now, we may send one of these tenders, one of these AS tenders, down to Darwin. What is this? This is U.S. Navy. I guess they're probably both U.S. Navy, right? So we may send one to Sorbaya and one to Darwin eventually, but I want to keep them with that one destroyer for now. Then we have the float plane. We need to get float planes in here. Now this one, a lot of times you send to Puerto Princesa here and do your float planes from here. We do have float planes here. Nice. They're only 3. There are other float planes in the area. Now, these are the ones I think we got out of Hong Kong, maybe. Um, I just can't remember if they start the game here, if we got them out of Hong Kong. But we have the makings of a little float plane base. But as you can see, the Japanese have already taken Legazpi. It is not going to take them long to start getting air capacity in here. Now, as you see, Legazpi is only a 1 out of 7. They're not going to be able to get a lot in here, but they're going to try to get some stuff in here, and then we may be in trouble. Hey, P. Warner, what's up? How's it going? We're currently trying to figure out how to blow up a Japanese task force and not get our task forces at Jalo blown up. And I said we're going to talk about Java. Now we're halfway through the episode, and I'm out here at Jalo. So of course that did not quite stay on the plan that I had put together. We have another AVP too, or we have the AVP. I kind of would want these together because, yeah, I think I'm gonna put the Heron in here because I want it to be with the destroyer. So, oh, this is an air transport. Yeah, I can't do that. It's not of the same type. I'd really prefer it was with the destroyer. Just in case, I guess I could put it in with, well, I don't want this to get out of here. All right, I'm going to leave that alone for now. We're going to go to Java right over here. All right, let's start going down the spreadsheet. That is true, Bayard. They could not bomb me out of a level 1 airfield immediately. That is true. You could not run offensive missions out of a level 1. So, it's going to be a little bit before the bombing would start. But just in general there in the Philippines, they are going to move aircraft into there very, very quickly. It will probably only be 2 or 3 turns. Before we get started here, let's go over here to where it seems that maybe we've spotted the main Japanese task force. Now, we thought we had a sub that had spotted it. This is the permit out here. It's currently running operations around Pelelu, okay? And this Babel Doab. Now, there's been a lot of action around Babel Doab. We know that we hit it with some B-17s on turn 1, turn 2. Didn't really do much, but it was kind of fun. And then we've seen the Japanese bring a lot of stuff in here over multiple turns. Okay, I thought, well, certainly they're probably getting ready to launch an attack, maybe down here to Rabaul, kind of as a staging ground to Rabaul. It could be, that they're going to go this route and go through Manado, or it could be that they're just, adding a little support here to their attack on the southern Philippines. But then I see this. We've got CV, CM, CM. It says we've got 8 ships sighted here. Now, 2 things. This may not be the main Japanese task force, and the reason I say that is we do know that they had some light carriers out in this area because they were using it to support Davao, this invasion of Davao, and so that might very well be what this is, and that's why we're getting a report back here that this is a CV of some sort. It's 8 ships, so it's not, an insignificant task force, and so it's possible that they are here. It's also possible that is the main Japanese task force. Now, I have never personally seen them come back this way, and I don't think this base is big enough to support that kind of task force. And so that is likely not it. Now, Bayard says, check the OP report for the Trout. Okay, let's go and look for the Trout. I see the Snapper. At 136.61, the Trout detected Japanese aircraft. Okay, that looks promising. 136.61. We're getting close. Whoops. Whoops. All right. Yeah, this would be about where we would expect them, isn't it? Uh, Whoops. Oh, sorry, I went the wrong direction. 136.61. Okay, now we're close. 136.61. And there is the trout. And you win a prize today, Bayard. Um, yes, indeed, indeed. And this is why you always go over the operational report, the signal intelligence report. You just never quite know what little, just tidbit of information you might get. Now, the signal intelligence pay a little less heed to that, I feel. To me, that's more like rumors and, somebody told somebody in a bar kind of thing, spies on the ground. Um, Bayard says the ops report says Japanese aircraft, but the message during the turn said carrier aircraft. Okay, that's good information because I was talking, who knows what I was talking about at that point, and I did miss that. Now, uh, this is good information because that information especially. Now, if we look and we say, well, where could the Japanese be let's just, play devil's advocate for a moment and say, where or why would the Japanese be operating uh, aircraft from bases out here? There's just really no reason for it. Could they potentially be flying a training mission out this far? I mean, anything's possible, right? That would be within range maybe of one of these bases, and it could be something like that. But realistically, there is just no reason for the Japanese to be flying aircraft out here unless it is off a carrier. I mean, there's just very, very little reason for any Japanese aircraft to be out here. Could they possibly be flying some kind of, naval search off of something here? Yeah, possibly, but a lot of these do not have, they're not bases that are big enough to support that kind of thing. Now, they would be running some kind of search out off of Hokkaido. They will be running some kind of search just looking around. It's possible, but I think there's a 98% chance. And with Bayard telling me that he saw carrier aircraft when the message popped up in game, I think that gives us a very good indication that the main Japanese task force is right up here. And that would make sense. If we start going east here, I'm not trying to make you dizzy by not using the mini map, but if we start going east, 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 we eventually get there. But let's go from kind of southeast down here at Pearl Harbor. Usually that task force would have wheeled out of here. Now, I do find it very strange that we did not get any kind of sighting as it went past Midway. We do have search aircraft up. Yeah, Baird, it could be ASW or naval search, but those would be float planes. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think you're right, though. I think this if you saw carrier and we're getting that, I don't think there's necessarily a great reason that we would have had the submarine to spot an aircraft where it is. There's an odd naval search plane out there. It's possible, but I think it's very unlikely. They probably wheeled out of here, came back. I don't know why we didn't get any kind of look at them. And then maybe they just kind of threaded the needle through here, so we didn't pick them up at Wake. And then they've just headed up this, they've just headed up here north. Then they'll come around. Um, and come up here and refuel, rearm, and then we'll see where they're going. So they've got this lighter, what I believe is, or how I'm going to be playing the game after that information is, this is a lighter, the light carrier task force that they have here, and that would jive with the fact they were bombing us from here, and we knew we had detection on these, and that's why we know it's a CV, but we also know it was a light carrier. We saw that before, and when they were supporting the invasion at Davao. Um, Great. Hey, MW, subscribed. All right, thanks, bud. Do appreciate it. Um, Okay, one of these moments here, we're going to actually get to Java. There was a lot that happened. I should call this Monday episode, hey, let's go really look and see what happened last time. Is the Midway runway damaged? Let's go check that out. I believe it is. Midway Island. Now, I shouldn't have said that because I don't know. And no, it is not damaged. They have not hit Midway at all. It's Wake that I'm thinking about. I think they have bombed Wake a few times. Let's see if we've got any damage there. We do. We've got major damage at Wake, 72. The service is damaged to a 37 level, but we're getting to the point. These poor fighters here are not going to be able to get off the ground, which is too bad. But we just really had no place to go. I mean, they don't have a big enough max range to really get them anywhere. So let's see what does. Yeah, nothing pops up when we're talking about transfer. That could have been because of the runway damage, but I know that I went and checked that earlier, and there was no place to hop them to, unfortunately. Stanley says, stupid question. There is no such thing, Stanley. Clouds on the map. I saw the Historical Gamer had many. Historical Gamer, I like the Historical Gamer. He's always a great watch. Now, I can't remember, is it F8? No, F7. Yes, F7. That will pop clouds up. And so, now that I have hit that, let's go see if we can find some bad weather. Did I turn it on? Turn it off. Let's see. Bad weather indicators on. There we go. Okay, so just hit F7 until it says it's on. And you see here, there are clouds over Townsville, heavy clouds, it says. I usually leave these off during the live streams. David subscribed at a tier 1. Thanks, David. Really appreciate it. Love having you, stop by on these streams all the time. So I usually leave these off for the live streams, just so you guys can, I say you guys, me too, so that we can see the task forces, see what's going on. I do, when I'm thinking about orders and stuff, I do like to have them on, so you can tell, if you're, especially later on when you're running more offensive missions, you say, oh, well, there's cloud cover over this, or there's rain here, etc. It may change your mind about what you're going to do, but during the live stream, I find it a little distracting. This is the other thing I want to make sure I remember to do. This is that task force that I said we were going to come look at, the Buseji, the Taiping. We've got major float damage. We have a fire, the Taiping, that has turned orange, 23, but I do believe we can get this back up here to Calcutta. Let's see if we can. I think we can, unless we get hit again. If we get hit again, all bets are off. And now the Japanese are obviously running offensive missions, probably out of Bangkok, I would imagine. I think that that's where that line was coming from. But they also, you can see the planes here at Bangkok. We do have gotten a visual of them flying out of Bangkok. So that's probably where they're coming out of. Now that they smell blood in the water, they're probably coming on again. The AI really likes to do that. They like to pile on, and for good reason. I mean, a good human player should do that as well, of course, because you only get points if this sucker sinks. And you got those kind of two interlocking things going on: winning the game with points, and obviously like winning the war. So realistically, in real life, would they go after these ships again? Maybe, maybe not. They've already damaged them. They're probably not going to, be decent cargo ships for a while. And even if they are, they're not worth very much. But that being said, they are worth points. And, when you know that you've got these spotted, they're going to be moving slower. As a matter of fact, what are their speeds right now? Yeah, 4 and 2. This is going to be a crawl. And I would imagine the Japanese are going to go after them again next turn and probably put them at the bottom of the ocean. Now we have this other task force that's coming in hot here. I think that I'm going to turn them up to full speed as they come into Rangoon. I like to do that as they get, kind of here by Akyab, is start getting this onto full speed. Now you can't do it the whole way. Now, look at this huge task force we have coming into Rangoon. This worries me. I think this time we'll also get some long-range cap running over well, I'd like to do it over both of these guys, to be honest with you. Do we have enough planes to run cap over Rangoon and be doing long range cap? We'll go look at it here in a minute. Let's see what happens if we go in full speed here. All right, I like to run them in full speed in, full speed out. And this does get us into Rangoon and back to Calcutta all at full speed. Okay, perfect. So we will be flying in there. These poor guys. Imagine these guys on the ship, man. Whew. Uh, they're like, hey, we need you to run some fuel into Rangoon. Now, we've had some Japanese bomber activity in the area, so, good luck, guys. Um, I laugh, it's actually quite sad if you think about the time. But these are just little pixel men, so we're going to send them in there hot and see what happens. So there's that. Let's shoot, screw Java this time. We'll go to Java next time. How about that? Let's just keep looking around the map here. With 18 minutes to go, I very much doubt we're going to get a whole lot done in Java. So let's look at our cap situation here at Rangoon. We have 60 cap running here. Their fatigue is up to 17. So this is a great unit. Flying Tigers up here, 25 aircraft. 2 are damaged at the moment. We've got a full complement of fighters. Now they have not done anything yet. I can tell you that normally we have a lot of kills, or we're going to get a lot of kills. This is just a great unit. They've got, pretty good experience. They've got these what are these? The H-81A3s, which seem to give the Japanese aircraft a lot of problems. So anyway, we've got them up in cap at a 60. We've also got the second unit of them up in a cap of 60. Now, if you guys don't know much about the Flying Tigers, you should go read about them. These guys, I mentioned this in the tutorial, or no, maybe, I think when we set up Rangoon, I was talking about them. These guys were like double volunteers. They not only volunteered for the U.S. Armed services before there was a draft or any other reason to, but then they volunteered to go over to and help the Chinese. Now they're in Burma here. That's a little ahistoric in some respects, but they offered to come over here and fly these missions. Now there were only 99 of these guys, I guess, and so in the Cole spreadsheet, he talks about don't be so ahistorical that you continually try to give these guys reinforcements or bring in new pilots. That's just not historical. There were essentially about 100 of these guys. They went over, double volunteered to get over there in the heat of the action and really helped out in China and also in Burma. So anyway, it's a fantastic story if you ever get the chance. I don't know, do you guys know, have they ever made a good movie about that? Because I'd like to check out the movie if they have. I've never seen it, but I'm certain that they've probably made a movie about it. So we have those two running normal cap over Rangoon. We've got a fatigue level of 21 here. We're going to have to start to back these off slightly. I mean, I don't want to, but really, I don't like to go over 50 for cap because this fatigue does start running up quite a bit. In some respects, here at Rangoon, you kind of don't have a choice. And I'll be honest with you, I wish that at the start, maybe I would have dialed this back a little bit on the cap, because they really haven't, the Japanese really have not been overlooking, overwatching on Rangoon yet. Now that may change this turn, but we've spent now 6 turns running 60% cap over Rangoon with not a whole lot to show for it, not a whole lot going on, and now we've got some fatigue. Now we do not have fatigue with these Blenheims. These are the look at this plane. They're the Blenheims. They're fine for fatigue, so that's good. I think I'm going to have these guys, though, with these 12 planes, run some long-range cap for us here. And so we'll back that off. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do long-range cap at 60, and let's have them do it over these guys that are coming in big. So we'll have them, you know, over the top of them. And then we've already got the buffaloes. Okay, so those are the Blenheims. We've already got the buffaloes here flying over the top of the one task force. Is that right? Task Force 678. Let's just go make sure that's right. No, that's 638. Okay, that's Task Force 216. Oh, oh, okay. Well, wait a minute. Hold on. Where's this task? Is this 678? No, that's 310. Hold on. Obviously, I misread something. Let's look at this again. So the Blenheims, we've got over the top of 310. Let's go make sure this is 310. Okay, there we go. Now the Buffaloes, let's select this again. These guys are coming down here. This is 216. Let's have them run over the top of 216. Okay, great. So we're going to do a little long range cap over them. You know, let's see if it works. Now let's just make sure we got those guys coming in full speed. All right. I think I'm going to give these two ships that are already damaged, I'm going to leave them to their own devices. If they can get in there, great. Oh, Bayard says the 678s are the HDMLs. You, sir, are correct. I just want to look at this again, see what's coming in. Okay, full speed, full speed. Yeah, the HDMLs, did they get out of there or are they right there? Yeah, they haven't gotten out of there yet. Good point, Bayard. Gosh darn it. I guess I'm going to take one group of these cap guys and put them over the HDMLs. I really want to save those ships for the ASW ability. I hate to use, you know, I hate to uncover Rangoon like that, but I'm just going to do it for one turn because I think these HDMLs can get out if we give them one more turn. All right, so we're going to run cap over them at 50. What's the fatigue? 21. Oh, that's right. 21. Okay. I think we're going to play it that way. And then what do we have left at Rangoon? Is anything in the port at Rangoon right now? No. Okay, that's good. All right, we've got no ships in port there. We got no task forces in Rangoon. Everything's either bust and tail out to Calcutta if they can make it, or coming in hot. So Rangoon will be fun. Stanley says a TV series about Bovington, that hero Bovington in the 70s. Okay, interesting. I'm going to look that up, see if I can find it. I'm very curious about the whole story around them. I mean, you can read Wikipedia, but I would be shocked if there hasn't been a good movie made about that whole story. There certainly should be. Okay, so I guess we've got Rangoon sorted out. Do we? You know, we'll see. This next turn is going to be very interesting. While we're here, let's make sure we've got everybody in combat mode. They're going to start getting bombed shortly. Like I said, it could be this turn. All right, so here's one. Rangoon, let's get them down to combat. 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 Okay. And these guys are all set for Rangoon. Good. So we've got everybody at Rangoon that should be there, and that means we should have everybody over to Pagoo that should be there. Let's make sure we've got them all in combat mode because, as I say, you know, not to beat a dead horse, but the bombers are coming. Combat, Pagoo, combat, Pagoo, combat, Pagoo. All right, cool. Okay, while we're here, I guess we're setting up Burma this time, guys. That's what we're doing. Let's look at Mole Mine and see what's going on here. Okay, I know that we have, there's more coming here. I think it's coming down. Is it coming from Mandalay? They still may be packing. Combat, combat. He's on move. Oh, we had this guy going out to Tangui. Or are they coming from Tangui? The 9th Burma? Actually, I think that we brought them in here to Mandalay. I'll have to go back and look at that just to make sure. We do have these guys at Tangui. They're strategic moving. Yeah, they're going to Mole Mine. I knew there was somebody up here that was going to Mole Mine. It looks like they're all packed up now. so they should be coming down the rail line this time. Now remember, we've got this unit out here that this is, it's not gamey because we're actually helping the AI. We're moving this unit down here over the border so that the AI, this triggers. If you read the rule book, there's, the rule book's not exactly up to date, but there's this idea that there are kind of militia units in this area for the Japanese that will activate if you cross the national border. So if you're going down here into Thailand, it activates them. So we're doing that here, and we're also doing this over here in, Indochina, Vietnam. We are crossing over here, or we were going to, although we got attacked. But this unit here at Pakoi is supposed to be moving up here to initiate the AI activating this militia. It just makes things a little more historically accurate, makes the game a little more fun. Now these guys are on move, and they're moving up to the, so I'm going to move them to combat. Let's see. Well, no, we don't have to do that this turn. They've only gone 41 of 138 miles, and so they're moving up this way with the idea of activating those militia. But we're getting attacked here anyway. We're actually getting the better of this battle, or at least we were last turn. Okay, yeah, this is a decent Chinese unit, 134. We've got some help on the way. I will say that I am very concerned about this little area. Now that the Japanese have taken Hong Kong and they're not focused on that, they are certainly going to focus to the north. We're trying to get all of this stuff out of the Central Reserve in Chongqing down this road to this railway and to Lechao. We're trying to get here because they can very quickly, take Wu Chao. We don't have a whole lot here. I mean, we've got, one unit of 165 assault strength, but look at all these, we've got at least 3 light pink or medium pink Japanese ground units here. They say here you've got spotted troops of at least 44,000 at Hong Kong. They've got 4 enemy units here. They've got 2 here. This is a pretty sizable force, right? We've got to get to Kukong and protect that. We've got to get to Luchao, Kuilin right here and protect that if we're going to hold this railway. You just don't, you can't let them start getting on this railway. At that point, you get in a lot of problem, a lot of trouble. How long until the Tavoy units arrive? That's a good question, David. Let's go look at those. So they're marching up the coast. Let's see, how far have they gone? These poor guys. Can you imagine making that march? 230 miles. They've gone 44 miles. I do have them in move mode, so it's not as if they're in combat mode. I mean, they've been getting the crap bombed out of them along the way. I did take this unit also from, what is it called, Mergui? They're also heading up north. Now, I do have them in combat mode. They've got no assaults. I mean, they essentially have nothing left in here. They've got 17 damage Burmese squads and 16 damage support. So, I mean, everything they've got is now damaged. Question whether we should put these guys in combat mode because they are getting bombed along the way. Hopefully they make it. Hopefully they make it. But if they do, they're not adding a whole lot to our defense there. The guys down at Victoria Point, unfortunately, sorry guys, they're just not a whole lot we can do about that. I have in the past tried to run, kind of suicide missions in here from Port Blair to try to pick these guys up. But really, game-wise, there's really no reason to do it. In real life, they may have done or tried or attempted that anyway to get these guys out. But for game purposes, there's just no reason to be sending anything worth anything into that zone. And so, unfortunately, hopefully these guys can march up there, get there. We can repair them a little bit. Oh, that reminds me, in the Philippines, I did mention this last time. I have turned on replacements for a lot of these units that are in the north up here at Clark Field here, Manila, maybe not as much at Bataan, but they're going to be absorbing the first wave here. So I've stopped stockpiling Filipino basic rifle units. I stopped stockpiling, I think, the 81 millimeter mortar because these units seem to have that. Let's just go look at one. Did I do it? Yeah, I've got replacements on here. This is kind of the, we can look at the TOE, the set TOE, but this kind of shows us what the situation is. What did I say? 81 millimeter? No, it's the 75 millimeter field gun, the 37 millimeter AT gun, anti-tank. But the main things I turned off on the stockpile were PA rifle squad, PA machine gun squad, because or section, I should say, because ultimately, as I said last time, if we don't use them now, we're never going to use them. These guys have got to hold the line, against the Japanese coming to Manila or Clark Field. Once we've lost those two things, it's game over. Everybody else, there's no real other place. We can fight kind of a guerrilla war down the island, but eventually they're coming up this way. They've got us surrounded. So you might as well turn on important units for replacements and turn off the stockpile for Filipino specific things. And then you can also, at this point, are we really using a lot of 2.95-inch pack howitzers or need them? Elsewhere, I'm saying probably not. You can probably turn off the stockpile on this stuff and just try to build up these units as much as you can. You see that we do have rifle squads in the pool. We right now do not have any machine gun squads in the pool, but we do have anti-tank guns there. We also have support. I'm going to keep stockpiling support to make sure we never have a problem there with support. And, let's be honest, it's not a huge deal when you're talking about ground operations in Manila. It's not ideal. I would rather have a full complement of support. Let's just look at the regular TOE to see what we're missing. I mean, normally these have 160. Normally they have 162 rifle squads. Right now we've got 75 with 33 damage. So anyway, let's try to stuff that full, the Filipino squads, with what we can to give them a little better chance of holding off the Japanese for as long as possible. And with that said, gosh darn it, we never got to Java. And so Wednesday, I promise you, will be in beautiful Java, I'm sure. I've never been there, but I'm sure it's absolutely gorgeous. We will be there setting up that Dutch war machine. Those Dutch are about to get angry. Look out, wooden shoes hitting you over the head. Anyway, thank you guys so much, as always, for joining me. Thank you for the people that subscribed today. I do appreciate that. I really appreciate you guys showing up for the live streams, and it's a lot of fun. It makes it more fun for me when you guys are here and helping me and saying, "Oh man, you need 6 eyes, buddy. You forgot to turn this on, or what's going on with these troops?" It's always very helpful and a lot of fun. So you guys, thank you so much. I'll talk to you on Wednesday, I believe. I'm going to put out my last War in the East tutorial later today. But I do not think I'll start the Let's Play for War in the East until Thursday. So Thursday at 10 a.m., if you're into that game as well, we will start our Let's Play of War in the East. But Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday are always going to be reserved for War in the Pacific until we win this war together. So thank you guys. I'll talk to you next time.